All right, what's going on? We're coming back. Video number 3. We got the cat in the lap, ready to let it rip. We're talking week 1 and week 2 recaps. So, a lot went down. Obviously, very exciting week. Let's get right to it. I'm going to pull up the week 1 matchup here. And let's shrink this a little bit. All right, there we go. So a little technical difficulties with that. We're still figuring out the system here. Well, as you can see, took the week 1 L, but not all was lost. So if we go person by person here, obviously the Stafford Deshaun Watson matchup basically evened itself out. I'll take that. Survived the Tyreek upside. He had a pretty quiet game until a touchdown near the end. Julio kind of did his thing. David Johnson, lucky touchdown there to save his day. James White didn't do much. Gesicki did nothing. DJ Moore, big underperformance. But, you take it over to my team and really can't be too mad at how things played out. Just the wide receivers really underperformed. It's not going to happen every week, but the Tyler Boyd, he didn't really do anything. Deshaun Jackson, it comes out after the fact that he was on a snap count. It would have been nice to fucking know Sunday morning that he was going to be on a snap count. So, I threw him out there with the upside play against Washington. With Miles Sanders out, the O-line banged up, you kind of would have expected that they're just going to be throwing heavy to try and keep in it. And the Washington offense isn't that bad. I mean, they have skill players, so I expected them to put up some points, and I thought that the Deshaun Jackson play was a good play there. But obviously, not knowing about the snap count, or that wasn't public knowledge, kind of sucks. But the big takeaways from week 1 really for me were Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the man in Kansas City, looking like he justified that first round pick, that number 6 overall pick. People will say it's a reach. People will still say, oh, you reached. But the pick is the pick. That's the RB1 on the Kansas City Chiefs offense right there. So, really, that was my big takeaway from week 1. Drake going up against San Francisco. What are you going to do? He had 18 touches, 60 yards, touchdown. You can't be too mad at that against San Francisco week 1. Waller had a quiet week. Deontay Johnson, obviously the fumble on – what was it, the opening kickoff or the first punt or something? I forget now because it was a couple weeks ago, but obviously was not a nice way to start the game. And then, he looked a little slow to start. He, obviously not playing with Big Ben last year definitely hurt some of his chemistry a little bit there. They had to develop that as the game went on. But he ended the game with 10 targets, so I'm really not mad at that one either. He pretty much showed the upside was there, so I think he's going to be a dependable guy as the season goes on. And then, big move number 2, besides CEH confirmed RB1, was the Marlon Mack injury. Now, I threw Jonathan Taylor out there hoping for just the receiving upside. And lo and behold, Marlon Mack, torn Achilles, out for the year. And the Jonathan Taylor pick instantly week 1 pays off. So, I mean, you took the L. I took the L week 1, but it was more so like I lost the battle, but the war rages on. I got basically a loaded team here with Jonathan Taylor, CEH. The receivers are going to play better as week goes on. There's really not much to say. It, a little embarrassing to lose to Matt. His team's obviously garbage. He squeaks out 114. I mean, look at this. Just nothing from his team, really. Nothing of substance here. And he squeaks out a lucky win with David Johnson touchdown and Julio doing his thing. If my team was at full strength, if this was the middle of the season and my team was rolling, he obviously will go down. So, next matchup against Matt, things will be very different, obviously. So let's take it over to game 2. All right, I just recorded the whole 5-minute take with the audio turned down on my mic, so there was no audio being recorded. So we're back. Week 2, obviously, as you can see, took the L, but look at the numbers here. Round that up to 157, round it up to 157, 161, and what are you gonna do? That's the second highest points scored this week, this season, obviously second to my opponent here. And just look at the team. We're firing on all cylinders here. Like when you look at what we just talked about in the last video from week 1, it's the team is looking good. We take this number by number Stafford. I expected a little more out of him this week. I thought that Kirk Cousins, put up some pretty big numbers, kind of garbage time stuff against Green Bay last week. And I think that, maybe I should have considered more with Galladay out, the lack of big playability there. But I don't know. Stafford's good. It's like you're going to throw him out there and give him a shot. So 17 I'm not mad at. But Deontay Johnson, Really, we've kind of seen the emergence of him this week. The 13 targets. He is looking like the wide receiver one in Pittsburgh. And let's not sleep on the fact that he returned the punt for a touchdown, and it got called back because of some BS holding that was away from the play. So, give me that extra 6. If you know, things would be a little different. But we're not here to complain about that. Tyler Boyd, another guy, 1 reception away from a 8-target, 8-reception, 2-touchdown stat line there. Right off the hands on the Thursday night game. That was tough to watch. He picked up the other touchdown later in the game, so we'll take it. But honestly, the wide receivers for this week really pulled it together for me after the week 1 disappointment. I'm liking what I got here. I think Deontay Johnson just needed that little bit of time to get going with Big Ben. Big Ben definitely back. And I think Deontay Johnson's looking like the guy there, so he's looking good. AJ Green definitely still, getting his feels back on the field. Tyler Boyd's looking like the guy there, so I'm going to keep rolling him out. CEH had a down week against the Chargers. They have a decent defense, but I think the Chiefs as a whole kind of just had a down week, so I'm not too concerned about that. Drake looking good with the 22 touches. I don't know if you guys know, but the Washington front 7 is nasty. So, he did get a touchdown this week, but I'm liking the usage. I'm not that concerned about it. And he also has a monster upcoming schedule. When you look at this, he's got next Detroit, then after that Carolina, then after that the Jets. So he's about to start eating this Drake season. And let's look at Waller now. This game obviously came down to Monday night. I'm down 27, and I wrote that Waller was going to do it. He obviously 12 receptions, 101 yards. Was that 101? No, I'm looking at Jonathan Taylor. 103? I can't read that. And a touchdown. But let's not act like he was due for the second touchdown too. Just Jalen Richard fumble on the 3-yard line, or on the 30-yard line or so. They were going in that drive, and that was when a kid from Clemson was already out. So Waller was the only guy going there. He honestly looked unguardable against New Orleans, and he's looking like the tight end 1. We can pull it up right now. I think he's the tight end 4 or 5, but that's including, he's behind Higbee with the 3 tight end game. We're not going to count that. He's really only behind Jonnu and Travis Kelce, so he's looking like well worth the 4th-round pick at this point. So Jonathan Taylor, obviously just getting it done. The 20, what did he finish with? 25 rushes, 26 rushes for 101 yards. That's, if Marlon Mack wasn't there, that's a 1st-round pick. So I'm basically rolling out 2 1st-round picks, 2 1st-round running backs. And then my boy Kareem Hunt obviously threw him out there. And, this was a tough week on Thursday. I was really unsure about between 3 guys. Was Tyler Boyd, Deshaun Jackson, and Kareem Hunt. So, obviously, Deshaun Jackson versus the Rams, the snap count's supposed to increase. And I thought that was the, pretty high upside play there. So I really considered it. But then, ultimately I was like, let's just go Kareem. Let's go Tyler Boyd. I thought it would be kind of a high scoring game. Obviously it turned out to be, but, I was semi into that it could be a high scoring game. And there, if the Bengals are going to throw the ball 62 times a game, I'm going to keep Tyler Boyd out there every week. No questions asked. So, Djax finished with, he definitely increased his snap count. He had 9 targets, 6 receptions, 64 yards, but no pay dirt on that big touchdown play. Wentz is looking a little spotty, so, maybe I'll roll him out this week if his snap count's going to keep increasing. Wentz is eventually going to have to pull it together. But I got to say, the team is firing on all cylinders at this point. So looking at the standings here, we got myself, down towards the bottom half, but sitting 0-2. But when you look at the real numbers, 261 points scored, third most in the league, 275 points against, second most in the league. Dude with more than me my opponent this week has 4 more than me. So I'm basically sitting in last in points against. And the team, after what we saw this week, is firing on all cylinders. We're rolling. We're about to start just rolling the competition. So, it is what it is. I'm not gonna get mad that I put up 150 something points and lost. That's fantasy. We're gonna be back next week. We got Hensel next week. He's about to get stomped. He's been no competition at all so far. Look at his points against, 224. That's the the third lowest in the league. So stay tuned for a full week 3 preview. I think we're pretty much caught up with the videos again. I kind of would have liked to do a little week 1 and week 2 separate, but we're pumping out the content for you guys, and we're gonna keep firing. So yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, drop me a thumbs up, give me a comment. Let's work the algorithm. Let's get those views up, get those subscribers up, and stay tuned. I'm here to go into the championship. We're gonna document the whole thing. And, we got a couple speed bumps so far on the road to success. There's going to be some speed bumps, but that's life. So I'm signing out here, and stay tuned for the week 3 preview coming up later this week, and stay to it. Peace.